Welcome back. We've been discussing the importance of prevention when it comes to parenting. And thus far, we've touched on the topics of developmental ages and stages, making ourselves aware of what the expectations are at different levels, different ages, and making sure our expectations match those. We've talked about setting up the environment, setting up our children and ourselves for success. We've talked about checking the basic needs of our children, that halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And we talked about the importance of boredom, reducing boredom for our children, keeping their brains and their bodies busy. We've discussed planning and how important that is as part of parenting, planning ahead, planning for transitions, planning in extra time, making sure that we know what we want our children to do so that our expectations are very clear, and making sure that we are stating what we want to see in the positive rather than what we don't want to see. We're saying what we'd like to see, and then we're able to reinforce that. Now we're going to talk about the importance of modeling. And we don't always recognize role modeling as part of prevention, but it is. Our children are learning all the time, especially our young children. They're learning all the time from watching us. They are watching and listening. They're little sponges and little parrots. So they're absorbing so much of what's going on in the world around them, and they're repeating it. So we have to think about that as parents. It is definitely a responsibility, but it's also an amazing opportunity for teaching. So think about what skills and what kind of person you want your child to be. And then make sure you're modeling that for them. If you want your child to be honest, then you have to model being honest, right? If you're at the grocery store and you see someone's wallet on the floor and you pick that up, what do you do with it? Take it in and turn it in and make sure that they can announce and find the owner right away. And then if your child is watching you do that, they're seeing that you are actively being an honest person and that it is a value that you hold and you're passing that on to them. If you want your child to be kind or empathetic, then you're modeling that for them. You're at the grocery store and there's a mom behind you and her baby is crying. And now you could be annoyed by that sound, or you could say, wow, I remember when I was there. That was hard, being at the grocery store and my child was sad or hungry or angry, and it felt hard as a mom. Let's help her. Here, would you like to go ahead of us, please? Oh no, please go ahead. Go, you guys go ahead. We're okay to wait. And your child sees that. They see you actively being empathetic and kind. Those are the things that they're going to model for their children eventually, right? That's what you hope, that you're passing on these values to your children and that they're going to continue and recognize how important these are. These are your family values that you are modeling as a parent and passing on to them. There are also times when we model things that we might not want our children to do, okay? And that is true too. So sometimes we need to be really self-aware of the way that we're handling different situations. Let's say, how do we handle our emotions in front of our children? A good example is you're driving in traffic, okay? What do you do? What do you say about the other drivers around you? How about the person that's driving too close or the person who's in front of you is driving too slow, right? What are you saying? How are you handling that in front of your child? Because they're in the backseat and they are absorbing it all. And are you using language that you do not want your 3-year-old to use when they get to grandma's house? Okay. Are you getting really angry and saying things about those other drivers that you wouldn't want your child to do? Okay, so then, or are you using it as an opportunity to say, oh, wow, I'm starting to get really angry. Wow, I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm going to calm myself down. I was feeling really angry. And now I'm taking some deep breaths and I'm calming down. What I'm using right now is a technique called self-talk. Self-talk sounds a little strange. It's a little bit like you're in a movie and the narrator is kind of talking about what you're doing, but it's really a wonderful tool. Both it increases language for young children and it breaks tasks into small steps. and it can explain the reasoning why you're doing. So let's say you're washing your hands, okay? And you might just narrate what you're doing. That's self-talk. I'm just gonna say out loud what I am doing. So I'm turning on the water, I'm getting my hands wet, I'm gonna get a pump of soap, and I'm rubbing my hands, I'm gonna get the palms, oh, I wanna get the backs, because I really wanna get those germs, oh, between my fingers, my fingernails, oh, I'm gonna get that soap all over my hands, because I want all those germs off. I'm putting them under the water, I'm rinsing all the soap off. You know, and maybe I'm talking about, I'm gonna do this for 20 seconds, I'm gonna sing a song while I do this, I'm gonna get a paper towel, I'm gonna dry my hands off, oh, I'm gonna use the paper towel to turn off the water because I don't wanna get those germs back on my hands. Oh, I'm gonna put this in the garbage can. Oh, my hands are nice and clean because I don't wanna have any germs on my hands before I eat. So I've just narrated what I'm doing. It sounds a little strange, but it's a really good learning tool to use with young children. You can also include them in, for older children, you might say, oh, well, what should I do next? So now you've got the soap on your hands. Well, what do I do now? Oh, okay. Oh, so, and then now what do I do? And then they'd say, oh, well, you know, do your fingers or rub your fingernails. So they're going to tell you, right? So you're recognizing that, yes, they are taking this information in, they're watching you, they've heard you sort of self-narrate what you're doing, and now they're part of like, okay, this is the next step, or this is the next step. Making sure that they really understand the task and the steps involved in the different tasks. You can also sort of narrate what they're doing for young children. You can be sort of the voiceover in the movie. Well, now the child is picking up the toy. No, but you don't have to use Morgan Freeman's voice, but you could definitely narrate what you see. And again, this is a way for them to increase their language and understand more about what the world and what they're doing and why they're doing it, right? So this is all part of modeling, role modeling, passing on information to our children, and prevention, because if we're modeling what we want to see our children do, that is what we are going to hopefully see more of. All right. Thank you. See you soon.